Check. 1, 2.
Mic is off. Okay. Lucas, how are you?
Good afternoon. I can hear you loud and clear.
All right. Welcome.
Thank you. Karibu.
Yes. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I want to welcome you in this afternoon, our thematic session, and our topic will be about mental health and substance abuse impacts on youth and teachers. I want all of you who are watching and hearing that we want to focus. We have to turn on focus on the often overlooked yet deeply impactful issue, mental health and substance abuse in schools, both among the learners and the teachers. With me here, we have serious panelists who have gone through those ranks and are able to discuss and present to you. On my right, not my right, on my left, immediate left, is Dr. Salome Gachina, jointly going to present with us of UNESCO. The presentation title, Dr. Salome, the Place of a Teacher, Mental Health in Whole Child Development, Lessons from Mental Health and Psychosocial Support Program. Madam Salome is a Kenyan lady and a teacher by profession with over 20 years of teaching experience. The challenges affecting learners' mental health motivated her to advance her knowledge and skills in guiding and counseling, enhancing her ability to support learners and to navigate through the challenges. She is a certified regional master trainer in mental health and psychosocial support by the International Institute of Capacity Building for Teachers in Africa. She has been training teachers both in pre-service and in service in mental health and psychosocial support in school-related gender-based violence. She is a registered psychological counselor with the Ministry of Health and currently works in the Ministry of Education as Deputy Director for Counseling Services. In this role, she is involved in offering psychosocial support to learners and teachers and in the development of mental health guidelines for the teachers. She is passionate about supporting individual discoveries of their unused by promoting their mental health. Lucas, who is joining her on virtual from Addis Ababa, will be able to make a serious presentation as they will jointly do it together. Welcome. On my far left, we have Dr. Yvonne Orlando, and Dr. Yvonne Orlando will make a presentation on the youth substance use and mental intervention in school. Dr. Yvonne Orlando has 15 years consolidated experience in substance use and prevention and management sector. She's a clinical psychologist and a certified international addiction professional. She is a tobacco session specialist, global drug demand reduction trainer, and a global master trainer universal treatment in curriculum. She is a World Heart Federation Emerging Leader Fellow. She was IWSUP Kenya Chartered First Secretary. Madam Orlando holds a doctorate degree and a master's in clinical psychology from the University of Nairobi and a bachelor's in psychology from Moi University. She also holds a graduate certificate in global tobacco control from Johns Hopkins School of Public Health, USA, and a diploma in chemical dependent studies from Support and Addiction Prevention and Treatment in Africa. She is the director in charge of public education and advocacy in National Authority for Campaign Against Alcohol and Drug Abuse, NACADA. Thank you very much. Madam, I'll start with Dr. Salome. Kindly, please, you are now open to the plenary to make a presentation, which will be within the shortest time possible, and I will be giving you not less than 5 minutes to do that. I don't know how you will make it, but having heard that you are a serious professional in this, you will be able to see how we can move together. But 6 minutes for you, Dr. Solomon.
So thank you, everyone. Good afternoon. So I am doing my presentation co-joint with Lucas. So I will share my minutes with Lucas. So Lucas, kindly, the floor is yours. Tell us about the place of the teacher mental health in whole child development.
Thank you very much, Salome, and thank you, moderator, for the opportunity for IGBA to participate at this first national conference on intergenerational approaches to school, community engagement, and whole child development in Kenya. We acknowledge the organizers, JALSLICA, the National Commission for UNESCO, the State Department of Youth and Creative Economy, Porticas, and the others behind the scenes who have made this possible. So as you have heard, our joint presentation is on mental health, and my contribution will focus on mental health of teachers, which we believe is a cornerstone of whole child development and sustainable school community partnerships as the theme of the conference goes. Everybody is agreed that teachers are the backbone of the education system. They are not only educators, they are caregivers, they are counselors, they are role models. And they cannot discharge these roles effectively if they are not well, if their mental health is not catered for. We have a whole body of research which increasingly shows that teacher mental health, which encompasses emotional well-being and psychological stability, is linked to student academic achievement and social emotional development. Teachers who experience high stress and emotional exhaustion are less likely to foster positive classroom environments, which negatively impacts student engagement and achievement. In contrast, mentally healthy teachers create emotionally stable environments that nurture student resilience, motivation, and academic success. It is for this reason that we need to attend to teacher mental well-being for a holistic child development, because we cannot separate the teacher from the conditions of the adults who guide the children. Supportive teacher-student relationships are foundational to student well-being and educational performance. For this reason, as UNESCO IGBA, since 2020, we have led a continental initiative on mental health and psychosocial support for teachers in Africa, an effort significantly shaped by the challenges of the COVID-19 pandemic. I'm sure we are all familiar with the pandemic, where there were extended school closures, social isolation, and uncertainty during the pandemic, which had a profound impact on the mental health of both teachers and learners. Many educators faced a role strain, emotional exhaustion, and anxiety due to the disruption of the education system. And they were disconnected from their learners, and this had a profound negative impact on both the learner and the teacher. At that time, we commissioned a study. 14 countries responded to the study, including Kenya, which indicated clearly that teachers were undergoing burnout, anxiety, and depression because of the impact of the school closures. Over time, we have worked on very ambitious programs to make sure that we address the teacher mental health and well-being in sub-Saharan Africa through research, policy dialogue, capacity enhancements, and other interventions. I'll just share a few of those in the interest of time. We have supported the African Union to come up with a continental strategy on mental health and psychosocial support for teachers. And this document will be launched early next month at the AFTRA conference in Angola.
Lucas, do you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, sir.
Kindly, please, I want you to give an opportunity to Dr. Salome to move in and give us what are the most common mental health challenges that are facing students and teachers today. Madam Salome.
That's fine. Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, so thank you, Lucas, for that background on teacher well-being. We appreciate the work you're doing even for Kenya and Africa at large. So some of the common issues that are affecting teachers and learners in Kenya and Africa, there are issues of depression that was done in 2020 region, the ICBA, and they actually found out 50% of our teachers are anxiety. There's also the issue of stress, the moderate stress, and also issues of post-traumatic stress disorder. And we also have the common ones, issues of substance abuse. It's very common among teachers and also our learners. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Salome and Lucas, for that elaborate. Maybe we turn back to Dr. Yvonne. Dr. kindly please share with us the problems of substance drug abuse.
Okay, thank you. I had a presentation. I don't know if it can be projected so that we get the highlights. Okay, as the ICT is getting themselves in order. So NACADA is a state corporation, and we are mandated with issues of alcohol and drug abuse, both demand and supply reduction for the country. And with that, we do surveys for both schools, primary, secondary, universities, workplace sector, and the community at large. When they'll project, you'll see that in the primary school data, it showed that most of our students are using prescription medication. And you realize that is the current challenge globally. And this prescription medication they're getting from their parents. If I may just ask, how many ladies here don't have a painkiller in their bag? Just a painkiller, Panadol, you know, for cramps, for a headache, for something. You can see about 3-4 are the only ones who don't have. And it is not only for this group. This is a picture that cuts across. For some reason or the other, mothers always have a painkiller. When the baby cries or starts coughing, you are the doctor. I mean, after experience, you start self-prescribing. And that is how our children also end up having this medication. The same study showed that our children, as young as 8 years old, are taking alcohol. How are they getting the alcohol? From their fathers. The father is drinking in the house. When they are done, who do they call to take the cup back to the kitchen? The small boy. The boy realizes when daddy came, he was very frustrated and angry. But after taking these 2 glasses, daddy is now happy. Daddy is now generous. So when the boy is taking this glass to the next slide, again, there. You can see the data. So when the boy is taking the glass back to the kitchen, the boy clears the glass. So that's how they start drinking. Next slide. If you look at our secondary schools, our boys and girls are drinking at 23%. When you go to the universities, they are at 18%. So we are looking at children who start using drugs, and you can see it is the broad spectrum, all the way to heroin, while they're in primary and secondary schools. Do you expect a sober nation? And that is why we have burning of schools, beating of teachers, raping in schools. We have parents being chased away by their own children. All of these are as a result of the substance use in schools. Thank you. Thank
you very much, Dr. Yvonne. Where when we started the program, we had not gotten some of our panelists, and Samuel is here in the house. Samuel, can you wave so that they know where is Sam? Sam, I will be very brief, Sam, to talk about you because of time. We have been told we need to be doing it, concluding at about 3:35. So Samuel is a researcher and an advocate for the child care reforms in Africa. Briefly, Samuel, let me just end there, but give you an insight to make a presentation about promoting mental health in school spaces, the role of intergenerational communication in mitigating online risk factors. Samuel, welcome.
Thank you, and I'll be doing this with my colleague, Dr. Michael Kiragu. So we run the African Institute for Children's Studies, and we've collaborated with government, including NACADA here, on building behaviors around children that can help protect them. We want to speak from the line of mental health and how the community intergenerational conversations or communication is very critical. We are basing our presentation on a study that we did for Meta, that is Facebook, where they asked us to look at, is there any evidence showing that the exposure and use of social media or the online platforms is linking to increasing suicidal rates among teenagers, and that's what we're presenting. So I'll just run through this very quickly and then give my colleagues some component. Click next, Ingrid. So I think perhaps very important at this stage is to appreciate that the online space is the new home for everyone. I keep saying, many of us when we grew up, you are told not to walk in this street, walk on the other street. That street now is an online space. But it's more than just a space where people interact. It is more and more becoming the sense of whom I am for a lot of young people. So when that is not appreciated or being addressed, then the sense of who I am quickly is being lost, and that is leading to some of the challenges that we are having. And this really increases for the age of 10 to 17, because that is a developmental stage where the sense of who you are is really being formed, and therefore much more critical. And that's why we are linking it to the other one. Next slide. Now, we've made attempts to address some of these things. As an organization with partnership with government, KICD, we have these materials which you should be able to access in our website, behavioral-based interventions on how to be safe online and also how to address substance use, using one of those keeping it real. Real is, how do I refuse to join a space where I'm likely to be headed to the wrong direction? If I can't do that, how do I explain it to my friends? If I can't do that further, how do I avoid and how do I leave that? Next slide. So anyway, I'll be taking you through what we learned from that. That's all that lady is saying. I'm being conscious of time. Just move to the next. Now, I think something that if you forget everything else is to really build on this Livingstone theoretical framework. And we've used it also in relation to online safety. That at the beginning of any protection intervention is the child themselves. You're really looking at a center where the child and then the rest of the people around him. So who will be next? The teacher many times. Even for me and my children, as much as I understand child protection and all that, the person who spends more time with my child is really the teacher. And here we are saying the teacher has their own mental health issues. So you can imagine the complexity that comes in. And so is there an opportunity to address all that in this? So looking at the interdependence is very important as we think about the solutions. Next slide. So in this study, we did a systematic review and we went through 5,300 documents. So we were doing this in 4 countries, Senegal, South Africa, Nigeria, and Kenya, and looking at published materials. Of course, you narrowed down ultimately to just 41 studies that were most relevant for that. And so we'll be showing you how we did that. But in addition, there are voices from experts that we did include. Next slide. I think I'll speak to a few of these and then ask my colleague to come in. When it comes to what were the issues that were being raised here. So you see that, one, there's really an increasing demand and access to this. In Kenya, for example, between 2010 and 2021, we had almost 12,000 times more access to online space. So it is a good thing, but how do you then control the other parts of it? And there is also actually the good part of using online platforms. We have more access to educational materials, but what about the other side? And remember, when you forget everything else, that the sense of identity for young people is more and more that when you grew up, I'm sure you had a Walkman.
Yes.
That defined you. Nowadays, these guys don't walk with a Walkman. You know, do you know Walkman? Anyway, some of you will not even know it. You know? So the sense of identity is really transitioning, and that is why if I have less number of likes for my post, that's a big deal. But then who prepares you to manage that? Next slide. So the school, therefore, because of the great interaction, becomes a critical space to be able to do that. Next slide, kindly. Now, the other attendant issues, I'm not going to talk so much about them, but are very closely related to this: cyberbullying and sexual exploitation.
Yes.
Maybe just a few more slides into now what is the consequence of this and the importance of intergenerational. Dr. do you want to speak on that?
Thank you, Dr. You can pick it up from there. As you do that, Dr. Salome, be prepared for a question from me. Thank you.
Thank you. Next slide. Next slide, please. So I think this is one of the most important things that we really want to talk about. There is evidence, there is data that is linking mental health challenges among young people and the use of online platforms. And we want to say online platforms because it's a wide range. There are websites, there are social media. We don't want to pinpoint any single platform as a risk factor. But there's also a big gap in the evidence that is there. We don't have very convincing data. Let me say the data is there, but it's not very convincing. And we are going to show you, move to the next slide, a couple of the things that become very critically important in modifying the link between the mental health challenges that we have and online use. And one of them, which is very relevant to this conference, is the partnership between the caregivers, be they teachers, be they parents, be whoever else, a significant adult, within that development of that young person. Their partnership with the young person in addressing their own challenges. And we'll talk about that. Move to the next slide. There are very many ways that parents can modify that risk. But the most effective one is that one that is less restrictive, that is more partnership driven. That you sit together with your child, you sit together with your student, if you're a teacher, and develop the objectives of why are we restricting, as he said, don't walk on this path, walk on this one. The more the young people understood and participated within creating those boundaries, evidence shows that there is better outcomes in terms of mental health. Young people are able to navigate that space more effectively. They will be involved as partners in their own intervention. Restrictive models, which, parents and teachers tell them, don't do this, without bringing in the child as a participant or as an active participant in their own interventions, was less effective in mediating the risks that are there online. And we are talking about the cyberbullying, we are talking about the identity crisis and sexual exploitation. So I think this is the most important slide that we are going to show you, that restrictive methods work less effectively. Partnership-driven methods work much better, and there's quite a number of studies that have shown that is effective. Move to the next slide. We've talked about what would be the role of teachers and parents. Move to the next slide. Another important thing, when you look at the skills of the parents and the teachers, again, it becomes a very important thing. Not just the skills in parenting, but the skills in online. always, those of us who cannot identify ourselves as Gen Z or Gen Alpha, we are always left behind in technology issues. So it's really important for us to educate ourselves on the online space, because the younger people will dismiss you. If you are telling me, don't walk on this space, don't walk on that space, and I don't know what I'm talking about, they dismiss you, and that becomes a block to the partnership. You cannot be telling me to do this and do that when we don't have skills. So the need for the older generations, the parents, the teachers, to also educate themselves on their digital literacy is a critical, important intervention in this. Move to the next slide.
Finally.
The conclusion. It's a conclusion. The online space provides us with both opportunities and risks. We have no option to going back. So we better harness the opportunities that are coming up. There are opportunities to educate ourselves as young people. There are opportunities for us to earn money. There are lots of opportunities. But then there are risks that can actually lead us down the pathway of crisis, that can lead us down the path of mental health challenges and online exploitation. Yes. So better partnerships between young people and parents and teachers is what is going to help us to navigate through this space. In the interest of time.
Thank you very much. We have a colleague from Uganda. I don't know whether he is able to join us. Laura is able to join us online.
Yes, hello, good afternoon.
Laura, do you get me?
Yes, I do. Can you hear me?
We are hearing you. You can. We are giving you. Kindly, please use your experience in the next 5 minutes to take us through.
It's a bit unfortunate. I heard that I have 10 minutes, but I'll do my best in 5 minutes. Thank you, sir. So let me also introduce myself. I'm actually art therapist, Master of Arts, and doctoral researcher currently in social pedagogy from the University of Eastern Finland. And I work as a lecturer in community education at Humak University of Applied Sciences in Finland, but I'm currently based in Uganda, where I'm doing my field research for my doctoral study. And I hope to talk about the importance of arts, expressive arts, in the mental health and well-being of children. And that is what I research also here in Uganda. So in my doctoral study, I explore the role of expressive arts in the well-being and emancipation of girls, conducting my fieldwork with a local NGO. I will talk about a bit more. And then why? Because as we know, 1/5 of the youth in our world suffer from mental health challenges. The same problem we have everywhere, also including my home country, Finland. Of course, the reasons are a bit different in different countries, but it is a real challenge. So we have to find ways for the whole child development, intergenerational dialogue, and how we can better support our young people everywhere. And in Uganda, 23% of the young people have mental health challenges, girls being the most vulnerable. I will skip the theoretical framework and methodologies. You can see them there due to the time constraints. My study is based on critical social pedagogy. Most of you probably know Paulo Freire and his famous pedagogy of the oppressed. The idea is to promote equality, equity, and social justice by combining social sciences and education, and also addressing, for example, human rights violations in societies. Nowadays, decolonial, anti-racist, and eco-social perspectives are, of course, important. Another pillar of my study is planetary youth research that is developed by one of my supervisors, Sofia Laine. And basically it calls for more global approaches in youth research. We have to aim at planetary citizenship and bear in mind these geopolitical inequalities that we are facing. as we have heard already in the morning, in no country children or youth are yet considered fully valued members in society, and we have to do better. Also here in Uganda, many of the rights of the children are still violated despite of several policies and strategies in place. So I conduct my field research with Grace Villa, which is a home and child development center for girls with vulnerable backgrounds, created in 2013 by Ugandan American child psychologist Ruth Diabahika. And I have a long-term relationship with this place. I came here for the first time 9 years ago, 2016, to do my art therapy internship, and since then I've been in touch with Grace Villa and volunteering and participating in their work. And what I really like about Grace Villa is it's a great example of whole child development that utilizes creative approaches for the holistic well-being of children. And then also this I skip quickly, so that we can go to the arts. But basically, doing arts-based research and ethnographic research, which is of course participatory, where a researcher is really a learner and facilitator. Local people, in this case, the girls, are my best teachers and experts. The colonial approaches are of course important, as I'm a white Finnish researcher in Uganda. I need to lean on the expertise of local research and local experts, challenging the traditional Western approach. And of course ethical questions when you do study with children under 18. I needed an ethical review both from Finland and from Uganda, and a research permit from here. Constant self-reflection is also necessary. So arts, why arts? It's really another way to empower children and youth and to collect data. And what is great, if you think about the theme of today, arts-based research aims at more equal and collaborative ways, which breaks down the power hierarchies between the researcher and research participants. So it's a very good approach when working or doing research with children and young people. It empowers them. And in research, really, we can get more information than mere words, because art in different forms offers an alternative language.
Laura, you have about 1.5 minutes to conclude.
Yes, I know, it's very unfortunate, but a few points. Arts actually allows, for example, children to express themselves about difficult subjects like taboos. And of course, therefore, we understand their points of view, how they see the world. And it can also, arts can break a culture of silence in a repressive society. And as we have seen in many researches, agency, self-esteem, emotional regulation, social skills, resilience, all results of expressing yourself through arts. Arts really can support critical thinking, questioning, motivation to create something better, and therefore it fosters our mental health everywhere. As part of the research, we do street art murals with the girls, and they convey their own messages to the communities and society. And as one of the young participants said, through art we can share our own stories. So that's basically it. I hope we can just remember to offer these opportunities for self-expression for our children and young people, whether in schools, communities, or anywhere. Thank you.
Thank you very much for listening that presentation. To you, Madam Salome, how can we integrate mental health training in our school curricula?
Thank you. Yeah, so there are many ways that we can integrate issues of mental health and life skill in our curriculum. One is having it, especially when it comes to the learning institution, where we have it in the pre-service teacher training curriculum. And as a Ministry of Education, we have been able to do that. There's a component on mental health where the teachers in training are able to do that. And we're impressing on the universities also to do the same. I remember those days it was just a small unit when you're doing education on guidance and counseling. So aspects of mental health, again, there's something the universities are also working in it. So one of the ways is to have it in the curriculum. The other thing is to infuse it. With the CBC curriculum now, mental health is one of the pertinent and contemporary issues. And much as the learning areas were reduced, PCI is where mental health has been infused into all the learning areas, so that even that English teacher, they can have a comprehension or a role play that brings out issues of mental health. When we have the music and the drama festivals again, these are themes that are given on mental health, and learners are allowed to act the same. So that is also another way. The other way is to have, through the guidance and counseling programs in our learning institution, the component of mental health can be there in the program, and it has been there in the program, just to ensure that some need assessment is taken from the different learners, and also it is there in the program, so that when they are inviting the motivational speakers or even the teachers within, that can also be good. The other thing that we have also realized as the Ministry of Education is to ensure every teacher is also offering guidance and counseling in a small way, so that all the problems are not waited for the guidance and counseling teacher who has a very high workload to be able to perform. Even just as a class teacher, is just something that you can take in the first 3 minutes just to check in, just to check in how the learners are. Because we have also noted, and research has revealed, that when learner psychological well-being when they are not stable, however much effort the teacher puts in terms of training and teaching, then no learning will take place, and therefore this will also affect the learning outcomes. Differently. Something else that we have also realized is there is social-emotional learning model that is now, research has been done in the Global South, and they have realized again, learning is not just cognitive. The social bit is also very, very, very important. And with CBC, again, it's allowing to unfold every learner's potential when they are given the opportunity. And also the teachers also need to be keen on ensuring that they understand that learners learn differently. And as they come to class, they have different learning variabilities. There are learners who learn well by role play. There are others who learn well by seeing. Others are very psychomotor. Others just listening or watching a movie. So again, that also would help, so that at the end of the day, all the learners issues are taken care of, or needs, and therefore this eventually will bring about the holistic development of learners.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Since we are winding up, let me go to Dr. Yvonne. Dr. Yvonne, policy and intervention. Are the current policies and programs in education sufficient to address mental health and substance abuse issues? What gaps are needed to be filled? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So first off, allow me to say that we actually have policies for both substance use and mental health within our schools. As NACADA, we were able to come up with the guidelines on basic learning institutions for management of alcohol and other drugs of abuse in collaboration with the Ministry of Education. Now, what we did next is the teachers have been trained. The teachers have been trained to ensure that these guidelines are implemented in the schools. A key highlight of these guidelines is that if a student is found using drugs, they should not be expelled. So the policies are very clear. Students need to stay in school. If they are found using drugs, if they are found in possession of drugs, you do not expel, you bring in the parent or the guardian for counseling. Because when the child is using drugs and you've expelled them, then what? You're saying you've given them permission to go and use more drugs. What is also clear in the policies is that parents and teachers need to listen first. As Moniwin said, if you're being very restrictive, The children always try to find ways of overcoming that. So for them, it becomes a challenge and therefore not progressive. So the policies are in place. The challenge we have faced, Kenya has over 40,000 schools. So reaching some of those schools has been the issue. The teachers themselves have said, we have the books, we have the booklets for the policies, but they're not enough for all of the teachers. Some of them are saying, in our schools, almost everybody is using drugs. When you're telling us not to expel them, these children will beat us. So there are those challenges that you're facing, but you can also say that we have seen a difference. Nowadays, most of the time, the students are referred to Kenyatta National Hospital, for example, because it has a free youth clinic. If you didn't know, now you know. It has a free youth clinic. You can walk in at any time. They're coming to Nakada because that is the policy. We don't expel you, we give you treatment. So we are working with the policy makers, we are working with the stakeholders to ensure we protect the students, we retain students in schools. We also protect the teachers. What the policy has also put in place is that the family and the community has to be part of the school. So if there is a bar outside the school, then the school needs to report it so that the bar is taken away. The community needs to report this person who throws the cannabis over the fence, because it is the responsibility of the whole community to protect the students. If the students are ladies and they're coming to school with tampons soaked in alcohol, we need the fellow students to alert the teachers. We know our men are going to boarding schools with chapatis cooked with hashish oil. If you don't know, that's cannabis oil. The fellow students need to alert us so that we don't assume everybody here is crazy in this school, yet they're all high. There are times teachers enter a class and everybody is so high, they're not sure what's going on. It is our responsibility as students, as teachers, as parents, and that is well captured in the policy.
Thank you very much, Daktari. And back to Samuel and Daktari, you will share the 2 minutes. What does a mentally health and supportive school environment looks like?
Good question. And maybe even before I answer that, let's appreciate that we are living in a very unique season or period in life. Maybe it happens once every 100 years, where technology is shifting the way social engineering is being done. How we communicate to each other is shifting. So with that understanding, like we've already made it clear here, that the school is a critical place to moderate and to modify some of these risk factors. And therefore, what will make a school ready for a mental health promoting space, I think first of all is to appreciate that this generation is not like those of ours where we were only to be seen and never to be heard. First of all, even if you don't speak, there's a lot of access to information. So how does the school appreciate that we must encourage conversation? I work in the child protection space, and we've encouraged children assembly. We've encouraged things such as children's parliament within schools. They're not just another structure for making noise. There's space for that. We also encourage a child-to-child approach of communication. So it means as a school, you must be deliberate in picking those who are willing, build their capacity to be the first place where another child can be able to say, I'm having this challenge. And then, of course, having a greater interaction between the students and the parents and the teachers. So I think we cannot ignore those ones and give...
Dr. you have something addition to support?
Thank you. The Ministries of Health and Ministry of Education are, I think it's almost final, developing a policy that is health promotion in schools. It's adopting a WHO, UNESCO, UNICEF initiative where health can be promoted within school settings, and how school settings can be important platforms for delivery of health. And part of that, the biggest, one of the biggest recommendations in that document is a partnership. Partnership that is all round. Partnership between learners, partnership with teachers, partnership with parents, so that there is collaboration around all these challenges that we are facing. Now, single part of that school community is going to be able to tackle these challenges alone. We can't say that it's a responsibility of teachers. It's not the responsibility of students. It's not the responsibility of parents. It's a shared responsibility across all stakeholders within the school community. And that partnership is what is going to make us succeed or fail, depending on how we view it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We are coming to the end of our discussion today. My name is Mwalimu Agri Namisi, the Vice National Chairman at Kenya. And ladies and gentlemen, you will agree with me that we have enriched presenters who have done very good to us, isn't it? Yes, when I was in Uganda last time, I got how we can appreciate them. When I say asante sana, you will join me and I will do what you will see and then join me later. When I say asante sana, say Yungeza tena. Another one. I say another one is just one. Asante sana. Ongeza tena. Another one. Thank you very much and God bless you. I think we'll be able to stand here for the panelists together with I, so that we can have a photo for all of us. Yes, when you are through, you tell us so that we don't continue standing. Unfortunately, all of us are black. I wish there was somebody to moderate the color. We can therefore release our online people. And thank you very much for contributing. Thank you very much. Yes.
Recording in progress.
Those things. Let me get to information. Our press, let us get information if we are going back to the hall, because I'm seeing some people wanting to ask, they feel like we ask the questions, but I think they can be done maybe the other side. Thank you.